Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Black Bear Barbell podcast. I am your host, Jonah Johnson. With me, as always, is my co-host.
Hey, I'm Sarah.
Yes, indeed she is. Thank you, first and foremost, for checking out the last episode. It was really cool.
Yeah, we had a fun time making it. I'm glad you guys enjoyed watching.
Yeah, we had a bunch of nice comments. Thank you to our parents who both checked it out. That's what we like to see. Get yourself some supportive parents, folks.
Some supportive friends.
They're great. Yeah. Shout out to all the friends that checked it out.
Yep.
This Omega Cringe podcast that I force myself to do every week.
We love it.
But, we had a good time recording it, so we're going to keep going.
Yeah.
Today, we're going to talk a little bit about some nutrition stuff like we said we would last episode. And then we're just going to talk a little bit about life, too, because, we figured we're making a podcast. It's not going to be as serious as some of the videos that I put out on the channel. So we're going to talk a little bit about some movies, some media that we've been consuming after we get through our main topic. And just kind of shoot the breeze.
Yeah.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
So today, like I said, we're talking about nutrition. But what I think we should do today is talk a little bit about how to handle a calorie deficit. Because, as I harp on all the time, I am in a calorie deficit. It seems like the never-ending calorie deficit. But I did just take maintenance for a couple of months.
You did, and it's hard to get back into a deficit once you've had some time to be off.
Yeah, it's been...
I think that's been maybe the most mentally challenging thing, like harder than starting or continuing. It's like after that was your first big break from... the new diet since the beginning, and it's been a tough transition to get back for you, I think.
Yeah, I'll give you a quick rundown for those of you who are not familiar with where I've been at. I am a powerlifter. I have not competed in powerlifting at a new weight class as of yet. That's kind of why I've been cutting. So I'd say late 2020, I decided that I wanted to get back into competitive powerlifting. Mm-hmm. And I also decided to become a powerlifting and strength and conditioning coach at the same time, which was really cool. But I kind of came to the realization that not so much in powerlifting, but as a personal trainer, you're selling your body more so than you're selling your mind, at least initially.
It's true. You have to make a good first impression, I'm sure, to your clients.
Yeah, I'm interested how you feel about that. Like if you were, because I that's how I feel as a coach, but as a prospective client, if you saw somebody in the gym, let's say, and they didn't really have the typical personal trainer look, would you be put off by that?
That's hard to say because I've been around you watching powerlifting videos and stuff on YouTube. I mean, I don't think I ever would have expected all personal trainers to be this totally jacked, buff guy.
That's kind of a toxic environment that
it is.
We're moving away from that a little bit.
And I think now that I'm more educated about what powerlifting is, I mean, I guess I'd seen strongman stuff a little bit on TV before, but I don't think that there's a huge understanding generally of there are strong people who just look large.
Bigger, Yeah,
not every strong person is Schwarzenegger definition. That's a totally different...
Yeah.
I mean, that's bodybuilding. That's a totally different ball game.
And that's kind of the old meme is if you want to look like you're strong, do bodybuilding. If you want to actually be strong, do strength sports like powerlifting or Olympic weightlifting.
But I think there's a lot of in pop culture, I think there's a lot of excellent examples of functionally strong people.
Yeah.
I'm big into Game of Thrones. I'm a huge fan of Game of Thrones. And there's the Mountain, right?
Yeah.
Who is an incredibly just decorated strongman in real life.
Hafthor Bjornsson.
He's incredible. And he's not hugely defined muscles.
Well, he's getting there now.
He is now.
He's losing a lot of weight, but when he was doing that,
at the time he was playing the Mountain on Game of Thrones, he was just a big
guy.
Dude.
Yeah.
And so I think that there's a lot of people.
And this is a guy who deadlifted over 1,100 pounds.
Right. I mean,
one of the strongest people on earth.
He is probably the strongest person on earth, but he doesn't look like Schwarzenegger.
Right.
He's just a big, strong person. So, I mean, I think there's a difference between a big, strong person and an overweight person, right? He's clearly not overweight. He's very fit.
But I think on the scales that we use, the BMI, which I have a problem with BMI, but
I do too in some ways.
It can have its purposes. But basically, the BMI is just weight versus height. And even though he's a tall guy, he's 6'10", he was weighing 400 pounds.
Right.
Which was still, for the BMI, it was setting him off.
Right. But I don't think that I don't know. If I was looking for a personal trainer, I wouldn't necessarily be looking for someone with, this crazy
like defined physique,
right? Like low body fat all the time. I think people, for the most part, understand that.
Well,
you can be strong and not a bodybuilder. You know what I mean?
I guess I might push back on that a little bit.
But I think in a way, you're the way that you look does sell your service. I mean, nobody's going to hire like a morbidly obese personal trainer. That just doesn't really make a lot of sense, right?
Which is fair or is unfair, but that's just the way the industry works. You want to, I'm trying to think if there's any other industry where like you go off of look. I don't think so.
I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't want to go to like a doctor who's massively unhealthy.
But most of my doctors have been overweight, and
mine haven't. I had one doctor who was really overweight.
Yeah.
But and that didn't really bother me a ton.
No, I'm not saying that it bothered me, but I'm just saying like that's a trend, and like there's a lot of nurses that are
doctors.
Overweight.
Sure.
Smoking is huge. Like you'll see people.
I work in healthcare. I know.
Right, standing outside the hospital smoking all the time.
It's very true.
So there's a little bit of like do what I say.
But they don't do it in front of their patients.
Yeah. Right.
For the most part. I'm sure. I mean, you never know.
Anyway, personally, as a personal trainer, I work at a corporate gym. That's my main gig, and then I do coaching on the side. So in a corporate environment, when you're walking around on the floor
and trying to sell programs,
and you're trying to sell, like that's the main thing. Mm-hmm. I felt personally that I needed to have a better body composition.
It's like you're a walking business card for yourself.
Right. Because I know my stuff. I don't have a problem saying that. And I've studied my stuff and I continue to learn. But it's that initial first impression. The majority of people in my experience don't care what you have in your head if your body doesn't reflect that to a certain degree.
Right.
Now in powerlifting, it's completely different because you got to put on a little bit more mass. Usually like very strong powerlifters will compete at like 15 to 18% body fat. So still not overweight by any means, but
you're not at the 5%.
You're not
that somebody's
lean,
at Mr. Olympia.
Right. You're not your six pack isn't super defined.
Right.
Stuff like that. Anyway, that was the reason why I decided, and for just general heart health. I have high blood pressure and high cholesterol that runs in my family.
Yeah, you do.
And there's links with obesity and poor heart
diabetes
health and diabetes. Too. And so for personal reasons as well, I wanted to do that. So I decided to make that a priority. And I think I had a couple false starts when I first started.
I think that's normal.
Yes, 100% that's normal. But I was also learning to be a personal trainer at the same time.
I think that's what made it stick this time because, I mean, we've been together for 10 years.
Yep. Almost 11.
And there have been several times I remember when we've kind of gone on a healthy eating kick. I remember so clearly there was one point in college where your parents bought you a George Foreman grill.
Yeah.
And I would grill you chicken breasts on it for dinner almost every night.
Horrible.
I thought they were okay.
No, oh my God. They tasted
I don't know, that was a long time ago, so maybe I'm not remembering.
They were so bad.
But we've gone through several cycles of trying to get healthy. And I think that's where your wraps came from, because there was a point where you ate your turkey sandwiches on a Publix hoagie roll, 2 of those hoagie rolls every day.
To go back to that.
But then we had that George Foreman cycle, and you switched to these, you found this brand of wraps that you really like. And so it was the same contents, but you made a permanent switch to wraps, which you liked, and that was a good change.
Definitely.
But we were still eating like frozen pizza a lot and like a bunch of unhealthy and
we used to drink a lot of beer, yeah.
Oh
man. But that was the thing, like in my mind, healthy eating was like I don't know what I thought. I guess I was just like we've made a couple conscious decisions, and like Monday through Friday we're gonna eat grilled chicken, and then Saturday and Sunday we're gonna
lose our minds.
We're gonna eat 12 DiGiorno pizzas and like drink through 6 it wasn't that bad.
I don't know that it was ever that bad, but it's like between
it was bad for me.
Like the 2 of us, we're gonna eat a whole pizza and
beer,
Tyson chicken nuggets.
Oh dude, yeah.
And a couple beers. And it's like, wow, now that I look back on that, it's like that's a lot of calories.
Right. And not only that, but like the fat content in that was just killing.
And the amount of processed food.
Right. So our diet now is completely different.
I mean, it's been an overhaul in the last
But
18
I think,
months.
Like you said, that's a really good point. Like I became more aware of the mechanisms that lead to weight loss. Just purely from a weight loss standpoint, not so much from a food content standpoint. And so I kind of understood this calories in, calories out mechanism a little bit more.
Right. And the relationship, because you're also a certified nutrition coach.
Yes.
So you did a lot of coursework about nutrition specifically, not just general health and exercise.
And mindset about nutrition as well.
Right. And I think you got a better understanding of like inflammation in the body and the difference between, processed foods and whole foods. And
carrying water weight, salt content, like just being overly bloated all the time.
Micronutrients. Yeah. Right. There's like a lot more detail to nutrition that you understand now when in the George Foreman phase of our diet.
Right. I was just like,
didn't understand. It's like, oh yeah, grilled chicken gotta be healthy.
We were 20. It was like, we'll just eat some grilled chicken and some rice.
Like that's what diet people do.
But I think that's what kind of causes people to burn out on their first or second go at trying to lose weight is they don't understand like the food that we eat now is all very delicious. Like
it is good.
There's not a meal that we eat that I don't like. And
we don't eat like vegan, all organic. Like we eat healthy food, but like we eat cheeseburgers every week. We had cheeseburgers last night. But it's made from high quality lean ground beef.
Yep.
I make the French fries from potatoes.
Right. So we control everything from ingredient to table, which I think is a little bit better.
It tastes so much better.
It does. And I am able to better understand how many calories I'm actually taking in because we weigh everything out.
Right.
Which we didn't do.
That's been a huge change for me because I'm not on a diet like you are.
Right.
I mean,
Exactly.
I'm in like lifelong maintenance, right? I'm not trying to gain weight or lose weight actively, but I eat all the same food you do because I am way too lazy to cook two different meals for two different people. That just seems silly. So I eat all the same stuff you do, but I have such a better understanding of serving sizes on packages because I weigh out stuff for you, but not for me.
Man.
But I kind of know how much a serving size of each different ingredient is because I have to weigh it out for you.
Yeah.
And so I can understand like, okay, when I make a chicken quesadilla for us, like I'm going to put a little extra vegetable in there than I am cheese because gosh, 28 grams of cheese, not a lot.
Not a lot.
Not a lot. That's for a lot of calories.
That's a really good point.
And like I still put I eyeball it like, okay, this is how much cheese I want today.
Yeah.
Because who cares? I'm not trying to lose weight, right? Cheese is delicious.
Right.
But it just, in the back of my mind, I'm just more aware of what it is that I'm actually putting into my body. And I appreciate that. And I feel a lot better now than I ever have in my life, to be honest.
I think I'm on the same boat too.
Like I feel good most of the time.
But I want to circle back to that portion size thing because I think that's another like super huge thing that through my education on being a nutrition coach, I started to realize like I can only speak to America because that's where we live.
Right.
But the portion sizes, when you go out to a restaurant,
enormous.
You're basically eating like 3 servings of whatever you get.
Easily.
And God bless this country because it's incredible. But at the same time, like that, you wonder why people are having a hard time with weight.
And it is hard. I mean, I'm the kind of person where if there's food in front of me, it's going to get eaten.
That's true.
I have a huge appetite.
Yeah.
Which a lot of people find surprising, but it's true.
Yeah.
And if I'm going to the Cheesecake Factory, they have great shepherd's pie. And I usually do share it with my mom because it's,
huge.
Giant, right? But Mom and I could share a shepherd's pie and both have lunch the next day, right?
Right.
But we're going to finish it.
Yeah.
Because it's good.
Well, that's the other thing
is in front of me.
You don't really want to waste it either. Because you are very good about eating leftovers. I hate leftovers.
I eat leftovers.
If I take it home, it's either going in the restaurant's trash can or you're going to eat it in my mouth. Or it's going in my trash can because I am not eating it. I don't know why I can't get over the fact that I'm good about it now. I'll just be like, yo, I don't need these leftovers. My sincerest apologies, but we're wasting some food.
But I think that's really warped on a population level, really, our understanding of what a serving size of food is.
Yeah.
And that's hard to deconstruct.
Well, that's one of the big things that when I first start consulting because as a nutrition coach, I don't make meal plans. That's what dietitians do, right?
Right.
So I more do consultations on nutrition, like general ideas and topics. And the first thing I do is I ask people what they think a serving size of something is, right? and just to try and get a feel for what their baseline is, and everyone is off 100%.
Oh yeah.
Because
I learned that very quickly as soon as we bought that food scale.
That's the thing. We weigh everything now, so we know what a serving size is. But if you think about cereal, like cereal was a huge thing for me, and I would have a bowl of cereal. But a bowl of cereal is like 4 servings. Bro, your boy's got a heavy pour. Like
everybody does.
We're
Cereal
going
is
nuts.
good.
Yeah, and it's the thing about it is it takes an extra 30 seconds to weigh it out, but it helps so much.
And it's not to say that weighing out food like it takes away the joy of eating it or makes you not eat things. It just helps you make an informed decision so that you really understand what it is that you're eating. Yeah. You know, it's like Rice Krispies are still good. Yeah. I still love Rice Krispies, but I understand how, like, what my goals are and, like, wanting to, you know, enjoy food in a measured way that's, like, good for me in the long term. Yeah. And weighing it out and knowing what a serving size is really helps me do that. Yeah, because the main thing for me is just, like, longevity but me too. What would the big mental block that would always get me when I started these diets and we would go through these phases was I would think, I do not want to live like this for the rest of my life. If this is what life is, then I'd rather just be fat. Because food should be good. Right. Because we weren't manipulating the variables to our advantage. I think that's the main thing. I was like, okay, I've got to eat chicken, broccoli, and rice for the rest of my life. Like, screw that. Restricted. I'm going to McDonald's, you know? Right. But now we are still eating quality food, but it's very tasty. Right. Stuff that we like. And it's food that we like. And because we're weighing it out, I can better understand, okay, this is still within my calorie budget for the day. And I think that that's a huge, huge help to staying mentally in a calorie deficit. Mm-hmm. Because if you are eating garbage food, which sometimes you are, especially if you have physique goals or something like that, there's gonna be weeks where it's gonna be just bland, whatever. But most of the time, normal people who are not gonna step on stage can eat regular food, quote unquote regular food, at a proper portion and still lose weight. Right. And like my mom's question that she wanted us to weave into the episode was like, she said, I can't wait for you guys to talk about nutrition because I can never give up chocolate. And so if you have any advice, I'd love to hear it. Don't give up chocolate. Right. No. That's the thing. Like, but be aware of how much chocolate you want. Like, weigh it out first. Like, and so it's like, okay, like in my calorie budget today, I ate really healthy today. I've got 300 calories. How many? She loves the Dove little chocolate squares. I do too. How many Dove chocolate squares? Wow, that's 8 Dove chocolate squares. Rock on. That's Maybe I don't even want 8. Maybe I want 2. Right. You know? And like, but you have that information to then make the choice. Right. You're making an informed decision about, okay, how hungry am I? How much can I afford to have? And now how much do I really want? Right. And that's the key, is that last part. It takes away mindless eating because you have to take the time to weigh it out. So it's like while you're pouring it into the bowl on the food scale, you might as well think about. Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because I talk a lot about mindful eating on the channel. I've done a couple of videos about mindful eating, and I think that's another massive, massive thing that's helped us both. And it doesn't take much time. No. It takes a little getting used to, like maybe a week of like, oh shoot, I gotta pull out the food scale. Keep it out on the counter, first of all. Yeah, don't put it away. Don't be one of those out of sight, out of mind people. Right. Like it's right by our stove where I cook. Yeah. And there's always a bowl on it, so it's like, okay, whoosh, there you go. Yeah. Easy. And it just becomes a habit that's easy to maintain. And I mean, we do tend to cook the same kind of meals over and over. So I always know, okay, 28 grams of shredded cheese. Yeah. You know, 8 ounces of meat. Usually I'm at 8 ounces of whatever protein source. There was a point where you were eating baked Cheetos. Yeah. And it's been so long since you ate those, I don't remember how many grams, but it was like 42 grams of baked Cheetos. Which was a serving and a half. Right. So it's like, and so that's the other thing, is you can look at the nutrition label. You can decide how many calories you want to, allot for this particular food item. How many servings is that? Maybe it's 3 servings. Maybe it's a serving and a half. Get out your phone, get out your calculator. Do a little
it's
math.
just
It's not that hard.
Extra little step to be a little bit more mindful rather than just keeping whatever it is. Like for me, when I was eating the Cheetos, it was just right out of the bag. And before I knew it, it was half the bag, which was like 5 servings, which I think was like 750 calories. And then I would ask myself,
wow,
I'm eating healthy. In my mind, I was eating healthy.
Cheetos. It's healthy.
Right. Why am I not losing any weight? Well, because my energy balance was off.
Right.
And I wasn't taking that extra step to be mindful about it.
And now we've been doing it for, a little over a year. And but like consistently every single day for a little over a year. And it's just second nature and it's not hard. And it's made a huge difference, I think, in both of our understandings of food and nutrition. Yeah.
So getting back to my like timeline, because we started with that and we kind of got off track.
We got way off.
That's how this goes, people. We just sidetrack.
We're riffing.
Yeah, we don't have a plan.
No.
We just kind of talk. But so I finally got on track 2020 with a decision to lose weight and a goal, a reason to lose weight rather than just I want to be healthy. I wanted to be in a lower weight class so that I could compete again at powerlifting, but also I wanted my body to match my ideal of what a personal trainer was.
So you had some
solid, tangible goals.
Long-term goals,
yes.
Right? Those long-term goals are very general. It's like, I want to, look like a person, what I think a personal trainer should look like. I want to compete at this weight class.
Yeah.
And then from there, you make your short-term goals of,
right.
Okay, I'm going to lose this many pounds this month.
Yeah.
Like, I would say I want to lose pounds is such a poor long-term goal.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough to...
Because you need a why. Right.
When you start, those nebulous long-term goals are fine because you're so motivated. But motivation does not last. Like maybe a week and a half, and then I'm telling you,
I don't need to lose 50 pounds. This is stupid.
Right. Dunkin' Donuts starts to look really freaking good after about a week, and you have to have that deep internal why of like, no, I'm making the conscious choice to eat this instead of that because of X.
Right.
Like that's the thing. And even then it's really hard.
Right. And for me, like I said, I'm not trying to like lose or gain weight. I just want to be healthy because I work in healthcare and I see a lot of people who are really suffering from like chronic long-term illnesses and degenerative things. And it just makes me want to be a generally healthy person. Yeah. And there's still so much more research to do about the link between your diet and your overall lifestyle and like some of these progressive, conditions. And so it's no guarantee, the healthy diet and lifestyle that I'm trying to lead doesn't guarantee that I'm not, and it's not saying that, somebody who has some condition has done wrong. I don't like sometimes it just happens.
I think that's something important to say.
Right, but I do want to promote a long-term health in myself as much as I can. Within my own locus of control, there are some things that I can do to be healthy long-term. Yeah. I'm not going to eliminate my risk of something happening to me. That no person can do that. Right. But I want to set myself up for success and I want to feel good. In life, I don't want to be overly fatigued. I want to feel, energetic and be able to exercise in a quality way. Yeah. And just feel good about how I feel and how I'm living. And so for me, that's my reason that, because if I wanted to, I could go eat Chick-fil-A every day or McDonald's or whatever. Yeah, because I don't want to get on a powerlifting stage.
But I was about to say, and you have the metabolism that usually... I am unfortunately cursed with a very slow metabolism, and you are blessed with a very high metabolism.
I once ate a whole pumpkin pie at Thanksgiving,
and nothing happened.
I felt like crap.
Send your hate mail to her and not me.
I felt like garbage the next day.
But that's the thing is every individual is different. Yeah. But still, and like you were saying about the risk factors, like there's a range of a healthy body fat, and if you are going and getting your blood work done, and your cholesterol is looking good, your blood pressure is good. But you're 22% body fat, who cares? If you're happy with where you are there and all of the indicators of health are there, right? Like, that's fine.
We all have a different why for leading what we consider to be the optimally healthy amount of a lifestyle. Right. I'm never going to eat all organic vegetables or free-range beef and
we're getting divorced if you try and bring that into this house.
Reared chicken. I'm never gonna be that or like never use a microwave. Like,
who can pay for that?
That's the other thing.
That stuff is so expensive.
Right. You have to figure out your budget, your own personal why, and adjust your nutrition and your diet to that.
It's so hard.
Some people want to spend all kinds of money on that, and good for them. Have at it. Have a good time.
That's crazy.
But that's not the route that we've taken. We eat the highest quality that we feel like we can reasonably afford.
Yes.
And that we want to do. And that might change someday. We might amp up the organics. I don't know.
I don't think so. And then, like,
probably not.
I'm a very research-based person. There's no big difference between the organic stuff.
Yeah, I haven't done that much research about it. I've heard about like the Dirty Dozen or something like that, like some specific things that
it's very tenuous at best.
Yeah.
Like
there's more research to be done in the just overall health and fitness space.
Oh man, yeah. We're very early on.
Right. So maybe a little bit down the line it'll be like, oh shoot, we really do need to be having this lovingly reared chicken. It really makes a big difference. Like, okay, yeah, I'll spring for it. Fine.
Right. But I don't think we're there yet. The link is not strong enough for me to be like, okay, well, let me spend $45 on a chicken instead of 10.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. But you never know.
You never know. That's the thing. Research changes, and like I said, this field is very new in its research, and unfortunately, there is a lot of like misinformation.
And
there's
poorly done science.
Poorly done studies. It's very hard to do dietary studies because the number one thing with a diet is adherence, and you cannot lock a human being in a room and feed them when you need to feed them because that's not ethical. So you have to. When you're doing these studies, you have to say, hey, please adhere to this diet, but you can't control that.
Right, and there's a lot of reliance on self-reported data.
Yeah, so it's just tough. Yeah. It's the Wild West out there, man.
But we're always learning new things, and all a person can do is make the best decisions they can with the information they have at the time.
Right. So what I wanted to ask you, the only question that I had for you was like, mentally, for me, being on a deficit, it can get really challenging. So I just kind of wanted your perspective on how you kind of handle when I'm at my lows, you know, because there have been lows. Like, honestly, I've fallen off the wagon a bunch. DoorDash has to be deleted off of my phone, or me and DoorDash are going to be having an illicit relationship. Like, it's honestly, it's bad. And I have no problem saying that it's a problem of willpower for me, and that we've had to put stops in place. Like, we can't have certain foods in the house. We can't, the DoorDash app has to be off my phone. But I was just wondering if your perspective on that and how I handle this deficit.
I mean, I think you've done an incredible job, first of all.
Thank you.
You have completely overhauled your entire life.
Yeah, that's true.
If we could go back in time and just have a snapshot of you 2 years ago.
Real quick, let me tell you, let's just do an anecdote to show them how bad it had gotten. So when we were in college, I was eating McDonald's. Now, my order at McDonald's was 3 double cheeseburgers, a large fry, and a large regular Dr. Pepper. Sometimes I would get an apple pie or a McFlurry on top of that. Now, that wasn't once a month or once a week. That was probably 3 or 4 times every week that I would have that.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have the money to be doing that. Shout out to my parents for me stealing money from them to pay for that.
You got in so much trouble for
I
that
really
too.
did.
Wow.
But that's the thing. It was, I don't want to say it was addict-like behavior, but it was kind of close to that.
It was.
So that's basically where I'm coming from. I struggle with it. So I empathize very greatly if you are someone who struggles with it as well, but I've found some successes.
Yeah, I think you've completely overhauled your lifestyle.
Yeah.
And that's such a hard thing to do. I mean, to really fundamentally change your outlook on food and your relationship with food, it's a work in progress still.
Oh, yeah.
But you've come such a long way. And so I think in the low times, which happen, of course they happen. It's a hard thing that you're going through and working on. But in the low times, I think it's important to remember, first of all, the why. That's why it's so important for you to have that long-term goal, you know, that you have. And also to remember what you've been through and to celebrate what you've done already. And I think that that's something that you struggle with.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people you're one of these people who think that you can't be proud of yourself until you've reached your long-term goal.
Damn.
That's not...
You're coming for me.
That's not true.
I mean, that's 100% true for me.
I want people to hear that because, I mean, I'm a therapist. I'm a speech therapist. And so when I have a patient, we set long-term goals and we set short-term goals.
Right.
Right? And the short-term goals, we meet it and then we update it to progress toward the long-term goal. So I feel like I have that mindset for, not only my job, but also in my life. When you meet a short-term goal, that
Celebrate.
Rocks. Right. Just because you haven't made the long-term goal yet doesn't mean you haven't achieved anything.
But see, my thing, and this is something that was also pretty nefarious, was growing up when we did something good or something that deserved to be rewarded, let's say, the reward was always food.
And I think that's common.
Definitely common. And so when you're going through a weight loss journey, and let's say for me, I like to celebrate every time I lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
I think that's a really big milestone.
But it's a paradigm shift of how am I going to celebrate when I can't go have a Dippin' Dots.
Right, exactly. I mean, it would, I don't remember what the go-to was, but it was usually like my aunt would come and take us to get donuts, or donuts are so big for me, man. Oh my God.
You love a donut.
Donuts
are good. Like donuts are objectively good.
Holy moly.
But yeah, it is. I mean, you have to totally reconfigure your reward system.
Yeah. So something that I've done is more so like, I hate talking about this because it feels so like, I don't know, hippie, but like, I'm very much into mindset, like, and like trying to overhaul my self-talk because I'm a very negative person with my self-talk.
You are.
But when I hit these milestones, we both struggle with that.
Yeah.
When I hit these milestones, I tell myself, you did something good. Like, this was hard and you achieved it.
And I'm proud that you're doing that because I know that's a big step for you.
And it really helps. Like, it sounds so dumb, but but it's real.
It is real. And I think that it's important in the low times to take the time to to think about just to pause. Because when you get in those low times, it's because you're beating yourself up for something.
And then you just spiral.
Right. And like, I don't know, maybe you did have a donut that you weren't supposed to have, but you've also done a lot of good things.
Right.
And I think that it's important to think about the why and how all of these things that you've accomplished, small steps already, have gotten you so much closer to that why.
Right.
And looking back at where you started and seeing where you are now. And like, yes, I do have farther to go. I have not reached my long-term goal, but that doesn't mean that you haven't accomplished something.
Yeah. And I think
that really helps.
Becoming an adult is kind of understanding that like, you're never finished.
Yeah.
Like you're going to keep going. There's still stuff that you haven't achieved yet.
And I think there's beauty in that.
Yeah.
I think there's
definitely.
a lot of beauty in always having
something
some
to go for,
self-improvement.
Yeah.
Or
what else is life
like
for?
A project, right? Otherwise, that's so boring.
You're just stuck.
What are you doing? Sitting on the couch?
It's like, oh, cool. I finished everything now.
Right.
When you're like 27,
you have nothing to live for.
Relax. Come on. It's crazy.
Right. There should always be something.
Oh yeah.
That's driving you forward. And it's different for everybody, but we're all on a journey, and I think it's important to recognize how far you've come.
Yes. I need to hear that because I don't do that.
Yeah.
And you would know better than anybody else. But that's something that I'm trying to work on through this. So right now I'm doing 16 weeks of a deficit. And the science behind that is basically anything longer than that. And it can be very psychologically damaging. It can pretty much destroy your relationship with food. Plus, biologically, your body starts to kind of have a hard time continuing to lose weight. Your energy level drops, your NEAT drops, your non-exercise activity thermogenesis goes down. It's just anything past that is very difficult. So I'm doing 16 weeks, and then I'm going to go on maintenance for a little bit. But it's every week understanding that was a successful week because you're still doing it, Right. Like, that's the thing. I haven't quit.
Continuing is hard, and continuing is something to be proud of.
Right. That's the main thing, that every week when I hit Sunday, I'm like, okay, we did another one, and it may not have been perfect, but you did it, and you're going to do another one now.
Right. It's like, it wasn't easy, but you made it, and you did what you were supposed to do.
And I don't want to talk about this like it's battling cancer or something. Like people have this, I am so blessed and I have such a great life, but this is a personal struggle for me. So I'm going to talk about it like it's a struggle.
I mean, you're breaking a food addiction.
Right.
I really think that you were and are addicted to food.
Your boy is not, I do not have a healthy relationship with food.
It's getting better.
Right. I am working towards a better relationship with food, but I do not have one.
I think you're starting to prefer healthier foods, like when given the choice, which is a big step.
What's connecting for me now is when I would have these binges and eat horrible stuff, the next day I would feel terrible. But then 2 days would pass and I would forget that feeling. Now I'm starting to remember when I go for another binge, like, oh no, dude, like this feels terrible the next day when you wake up, you know? It was the same for alcohol with me.
I don't want to waste a day.
Right. It was the same for alcohol. It was like, oh, I feel terrible for like 4 days after I finished drinking. So I stopped drinking. And I think both of those things kind of go hand in hand is I'm starting to connect with the feeling of after rather than the feeling of before, which has been really, really difficult.
That's like revolutionized everything for you.
It really has. And so if you try and really, it sucks to revel in that moment of being low and being bloated and feeling terrible and having digestive distress and feeling a little guilty. We don't want you to feel guilty, but you do. And just sit in that moment for a second and try and remember that and let that stick so that 4 days down the line, when you're feeling great and you're about to order that pizza, you can remember, okay, if I do order this, maybe 1 or 2 slices because I don't want to have that same feeling, right? Or just don't order it at all. Depends on what your goals are.
And you can decide,
right?
You know, if like I can handle this, I can eat 2 slices and be done.
Yeah.
And put the rest in the freezer.
But the thing is like, I'm not at that point.
Right. Or you can have the self-awareness to say, I'm not there yet.
I am not there.
And so I'm going to do something else.
Right. I'm not going to, right? And so that is the main thing. I'm
going to get a turkey sub from Jersey Mike's instead because that's still like exciting and, you know.
Different.
Like kind of a big meal for me that I like and I enjoy.
Right.
And that's good enough for right now.
Right. Like I think that self-awareness is something that has also really helped is like, I know I'm not at the point yet where I can cheat. I just can't. So I have to be very strict and not to say that this is the only way to do it. There's 1,000 ways to lose weight. There's 1,000 ways to put on weight, to make a body composition change. There are 1,000 ways to do it. But for me, I have to say I'm strictly doing this because if I come off of it for even a meal, it's going to turn into a day to a week, and then I'm done.
Right.
Right. So I don't know. That's.
It's all about figuring out what works for you.
That is the key.
I mean, if grilled chicken, rice, and broccoli works for you,
go ahead.
Enjoy it because I don't want it. We've kind of found what works for us, at least for right now, and it's something that's always evolving. But
yeah,
I think we're happy.
I definitely think we are, especially, you know, in a nutritional context. Yeah. Mm-hmm. In a general life context. Yeah, as well.
Yeah.
But with our food specifically, we found something that really works.
We've kind of hit our stride. We're in like a good
Here's something
place.
That I want to say. It took us
a while.
10 years. So when
right.
when we were eating at home, obviously we were eating what our parents were making us.
Right.
But from when we got to college till just about last year, so what was that? 8 years that we were struggling to find kind of like what our 8 years, guys. Like that's a long time.
Right. Of getting on the wagon and falling off the wagon and trying something new to get back on.
Right.
Like maybe it worked a little bit, but like, then you kind of stop.
I really like podcasts for that reason because I like the long form and I feel like on Instagram and on even my YouTube videos, I can edit stuff. And it just speaks to a general idea of like, there's no such thing as instant success.
No.
And that's something that I struggle with a ton, you know, like you see all of these people that you get the progress pics of like here and here, but then you don't really connect that on the bottom where the dates are. It's like 3 years in between the pictures.
Yeah.
You just see the pretty pictures of the guys that are changing themselves and you're like, oh man, this must have been really easy for them.
It's like you don't see the days that they struggle.
No.
And like the times when they agonized over whether or not they could order that pizza and control themselves.
But everybody does.
Everybody goes through that.
Everybody. I defy you to find somebody that, I mean, maybe 1% of the population is instantly successful. Maybe. Good for them. But the majority of people,
couldn't be
with,
me.
with anything that they do, it's going to take a long time and a lot of hard work and just a lot of failure.
And sacrifice.
Yeah. And so in a nutrition context, like that, those false starts and those times we fell off the wagon.
You learn a lot.
Right. Every time I got back on the wagon, it was better than the first time.
Right.
Because I knew what set me off and I knew how to avoid it a little bit better.
Yeah.
Right. And, you know, there's a ton of different strategies and we'll continue to talk about all those strategies and stuff. But I just wanted to take today to kind of talk about like our journey together. And also I wanted to thank you for like, goodness gracious, I would be nowhere close to where I am right now without like your help. It's been incredible. Because I'm a terrible cook, first and foremost, just from from a practical standpoint, I'm garbage in the kitchen.
You are. You've gotten a lot better though.
Yeah.
I have to give you credit.
But still nowhere near good enough to eat what I eat without your help.
Probably not.
So that's been a huge help. And I know that like, oh, look at this couple and then whatever. If you're single,
learn to cook. It's not that, I mean, I'm not an amazing cook. I had to learn what to do.
Yeah, I mean,
but figure it out.
The thing is, like, find people that are going to be that for you. Like,
we're going to support you in whatever way.
Life is about finding those people that are going to help you, whether it's your parents, your family, your friends, your significant other. You know, obviously, there's something to be said about being dependent on somebody, but I think in a healthy context, finding someone that's going to help you is gonna be a huge help.
Right. No one is an island, right? Like you need to have the drive within yourself to achieve your own goals.
Yeah.
But you gotta, especially when things get tough, it's important to have the support of somebody. Even if it's just one person.
Right.
Right?
Right.
Somebody who knows what you're trying to achieve and can remind you of your goals and can, you know,
I'm a big believer in that. I think that has helped me a ton.
Yeah.
And that's why like they even putting out videos and doing this podcast and like talking to the void and whoever's watching this and like saying, these are my goals. This is what I want to. Yeah. In some of my darker moments, I've thought, I'm doing this and I'm putting myself out there. I don't want to fall off because of that. I want to keep going because of the people that are watching.
And there's people who you look up to, right? On YouTube. So like in a I don't know, if you're going through a tough time with like your exercise, I really can't help you there.
Right.
But there's like YouTube channels that you watch that are so inspiring and people who have been through a journey like yours who can, you know, you can look at their videos and say, okay, wow, I can see the work that they're putting in. I can see where they started. I can see where they've ended up. And I'm on that same path too.
Yeah.
And I can do it.
Right.
I can do this.
Like
some source of inspiration.
Just a big one. And we'll end the nutrition talk with this. We'll talk a little bit more about random stuff after, but like just a big podcast that's really helped me out is The American Glutton. So Ethan Suplee, he was on Boy Meets World. That's where I first saw him, but he was in Remember the Titans, the big, huge guy.
Oh, okay.
And he is an actor, very successful guy. He's a dad, and he's lost so much weight. And his podcast is just so informative and helpful. And like, I mean, just Google before and afters of that guy.
That's great.
And so you got to find those types of people.
Like somebody to look up to.
Right. Have an example, but understand when you're looking at that example that it didn't happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like those people went through the hardships that you are also going through.
Yeah.
And the only difference between you and them is time.
Right.
Like they had more time than you have had so far.
They started before you did, so they're going to get there first probably.
Exactly.
And that's okay.
Just keep going.
Right.
Right? All right, so that was great. Yeah, I like doing that. I want to throw some random conversation in there because I want these to be like an hour long usually and a little bit different from the edited versions of videos that I put out on Mondays. So today we're going to do something, just throwing it out there. We're going to do a movie of the week recommendation and a book of the week recommendation. Because a little bit about us, I love film and Sarah loves books.
I love books. Yeah.
Both of us kind of like the other thing, but I'm the movie guy and she's the book girl.
That's right.
So you want to go first this week?
Yes, I was just going to look up the name of the author. So a book that I just finished maybe like a week ago it's called The Sound of Gravel.
Okay.
And it's by Ruth Werner, and it was really good. I've been really into memoirs.
Okay.
I'm trying to branch out my reading this year, right?
Yeah.
I read a lot of fiction. I read a lot of classic fiction. Like, that's my love. And so this year I'm making a conscious effort to read some nonfiction, to read some plays, some poetry, some short, like just other genres, fantasy, science fiction, like things that I really haven't dug too deep in. So, and I've really enjoyed some memoirs lately. When Breath Becomes Air is my favorite memoir that I've ever read. So just a little bonus
book of the week.
That is in my top 5 favorite books of all time.
You finished that, you cried for like an hour
for the rest of the day.
Yeah,
I cried for the rest of the day. It was one of the it is in the top 5 books I've ever read in my life.
That's crazy because she's read a ton of books.
I've read a lot of books.
Yeah.
But anyway, The Sound of Gravel, also an excellent memoir.
What's it about?
So it's about this girl who grew up in a polygamist like commune family thing in Mexico. But it doesn't center on religion. It just centers on her family and her growing up. I mean, she went through so much hardship, really. I mean,
I would imagine.
Right. So like her biological father was the leader of this like commune, and he got like.
This is a true story?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, it's a memoir.
Oh yeah.
He got like murdered, and then she had this like crazy stepfather, and just constant instability. I don't want to like totally spoil the entire book. I mean, all of that's in the beginning, so whatever.
Yeah.
But just constant instability, and it's about her growing up amidst like moving back and forth between different countries and having like 30 plus siblings and like innumerable half siblings from like her biological dad's polygamous marriages, and her
I would imagine
her stepfather and like his other wives and all of their like 15 children. I mean, she had just a absolutely
that's crazy
difficult upbringing, and it's amazing
is
to see.
Is this modern, or did it happen?
Yeah, she was born in like the 1962 or something like that. She's like our parents' age essentially.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's really inspiring to see her as a child navigate these things that I can't even imagine, and find her footing in the world and figure out what matters to her and what she wants her life to be as she just finds her way somehow through impossible circumstances. And it's really well written, really easy to read. I think I got through it in like 2 days, 3 days.
What's the name of it again?
The Sound of Gravel.
Well, there you go.
So yeah, really good. I found
Check
it
that
on
one
Instagram. Check it out. It was really. I'm glad I picked it up.
Yeah, if you're a big reader, go ahead and read that one. Yeah. I'm not going to be reading that because I don't read. That's not true.
You do read.
I read, but I read like.
And it's really short. It's only like 300 pages.
Yeah, I mean maybe, but if you read it, write what you thought in the comments.
Let me know if you liked it. I mean, I thought it was really good. Yeah. And for me, it was different because it's not
fiction.
Emily Bronte or something like that.
Okay.
I love.
So real quick, I'll do movie of the week, and then I want to talk about a TV show too.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so movie of the week. So I am an art hoe in a muscular man body.
You are.
Like I love 2 hours of just like atmosphere.
I understand that because that's what I like in a book.
Yeah, but
you hate that in a book. I love that in a book. You like that in a movie. So I respect that and I understand it in a way.
It's not for everyone.
I love it though. For you.
But man, sometimes you just got to click on to like a nebulous plot with like, I don't know.
I love
some
that
cool pictures and stuff.
I love that. So what's the movie?
So the movie it's oh man, I forgot the title.
Are you joking?
How did I forget the title?
Who's it by?
Terrence Malick. Okay, we're back. I Googled it. Sorry about that. I have a terrible memory. But it's Terrence Malick's The Tree of Life.
Okay.
So this is one that I watched a year ago, and no, probably 2 years ago, because I was in a little bit of a depressive episode. But I threw that one on there, and it's impossible to give you a plot summary.
Because it's
very atmospheric. But it's about brothers, and it's about their relationship with their father.
You love stories about brothers.
Any story
Brother
about
Bear.
brothers, except that one.
You don't love Brother
Garbage
Bear?
can movie.
Oh, man.
No, don't like that one. Any story about brothers. That's why The Goonies is my favorite movie. Is because at its heart, it's about an older brother and a younger brother that go on an adventure together. Right?
I think it's really cute that you
love that. I have a younger brother. Shout out Dave.
Yeah.
So that just hits me pretty deep right there. But it's about, and it's It's told through vignettes. It's very stylized. It is not everybody's cup of tea. I will just say that right now. And if you don't like it,
that's fine.
That's totally fine. That is your opinion. It's not very plot heavy. But if you're looking for something that I would call beautiful, and I'm going to throw this out there, art, ooh, that was cringe.
Whoa.
But it really is like cinema, you know? Oh my God, I can't believe it. Anyway, I'm going to stop talking about it because I feel so pretentious. But Terrence Malick, The Tree of Life, it's a good movie. Go check it out. I think it's on Netflix. I haven't seen it,
so I can't tell you what to do.
No, usually I don't make Sarah watch those types of movies.
No.
But very atmospheric, and I think you'll like it. Now, to something a little bit more raunchy. Sarah and I have been watching Euphoria. Ooh, boy.
If you're our parents, don't watch
Yeah,
this.
you might want to click off if you're our parents. But
well, no, I mean, finish the podcast. You wouldn't like
you
Euphoria,
you wouldn't
Mom
like
and Dad.
Euphoria. Euphoria is...
But it's really well done.
Very, very well done, and very atmospheric.
It is. It's like very pretty to watch.
Which is, I think, what is keeping me in, because it is basically a soap opera. Right? Yeah. I mean, it's a little bit more well done than that.
I mean, the acting is it's just incredible. Yeah. The acting is really good, but it's dramatic.
Right. So the soap opera aspect of it, I think, is because it's very over the top in its plot devices. I don't think it's soap opera acting. I think every actor in that show is incredibly talented. Really good. And for Zendaya alone.
You know the fight with her and her mom?
Oh, yeah.
When they pull and she's like, get out of my face with a piece of glass. They improv'd that?
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Yeah. I mean, you could tell that it was just very raw.
It was just so raw. And yeah, it was really
But anyway, we started, 2 weeks ago? We finished the whole season in like a day and a half, the whole first season.
Did we?
Yeah, we watched
Probably.
it. We watched it very, very quickly.
It was good.
And then now we're completely caught up. So if you're looking for a pretty bombastic plot line with incredibly pretty pictures.
It's heavy.
Oh, yeah.
It's really heavy.
Yeah, maybe a content warning for that one.
It's really heavy. I mean,
drug use,
there's
teen pregnancy.
Yeah.
Just
partying, like addiction.
Yeah, addiction.
All kinds of stuff.
It's rough.
But
obsession in every case.
But I mean, for some people going through life, that's reality. And so, I mean, it doesn't shy away from what some people are
going through. Right, exactly. But here's the thing I'll say. Deeply funny.
It is pretty funny.
Which is, I will go to my grave thinking that this is a comedy show. Sarah does not believe me.
I think there are times when it's funny.
Here, I think it's a comedy in like a Shakespearean sense of the word, where tragedy is deeply woven in.
I think it's a dark comedy.
And I love that.
Yeah.
Dude,
dark comedies are great.
I've laughed out loud.
A lot. Yeah.
I think it is so funny if you have the right like mindset. You know? Like if you look at it as a tragedy and like, then obviously that's what you're going to get out of it. Mm-hmm. I'm very cynical. And so I look at it more in a comedic lens. Yeah. And man, it is wickedly funny.
There are a lot of really funny moments.
Holy cow, it's funny.
But it's beautiful
dark
to watch, but it's dark.
Yeah.
I mean, we've really enjoyed it actually.
Yeah. So if you're looking for a TV show, there you go. So you got a book, a movie, and a TV show. Do your homework.
Free of charge.
Hopefully you like any of those recommendations. Yeah. I doubt anybody's going to like Tree of Life.
Yeah, but they'll probably love The Sound of Gravel.
Yeah.
So everybody let me know once you've read it.
Read the book. Don't watch the movie.
It's really good.
All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for today.
All right, cool.
Good job. We made it to almost an hour.
Wow.
Good work. We talked a lot.
Thank you. Good work to you too.
Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, do all that jazz. It really helps.
Ask us a question.
Yeah, please ask us any of your questions about anything. I mean, we're open books. We literally will talk about anything. So if you just have a question that you want answered, what's the meaning of life? We'll take a stab at it. Yeah, thanks so much for the continued support. It's been great.
Yeah.
I have a lot of fun doing this, so I think we're going to keep rolling with these podcasts. Once again, this is the Black Bear Barbell podcast. I'm Jonah.
I'm Sarah.
Have a great day, everyone. Get strong and stay strong. We'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.